Or two here for our supporters to come on and share and stream. But for those of you that are tuning in today or just getting on or that will watch this here in the future, this is Real Talk, Real Topics. Today we have a very special guest and a very special topic, guest by the name of Sheree Corneal, and we'll get into her official title and everything that she does here in just a few minutes before we get started. But for those of you that don't know, Real Talk is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is a youth program. We take members from the community that have been incarcerated, and we have real talks with them along with parenting groups with licensed professional counselors. Upon graduation, if the funding is available and the child does meet the criteria of volunteer hours, good grades, and the parent volunteers their hours as well, then Real Talk provides a stipend of an allowance per month per child. And that's our ultimate goal, is to make a change by changing at least one. If we can change one adult or one child, then we feel that we've made a change in this world. So thank you all for tuning in. This is Real Talk, Real Topics. My name is Julian Morales. And like I said, we have Sheree Corneal, who is the founder of Real Talk Youth Impact Program. Not only is she the founder, but she is the executive director of Real Talk out there in Nevada. And she is also the author of Real Talk, Real Stories, Real Change. And she'll get into that here in a little bit. And we'll put up the information where you guys can go purchase this book. And Sheree will give you an explanation a little later on what she's doing with the proceeds of this book. Sheree, go ahead and say hello to our audience.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Julian, for having me. It's a true blessing that we are able to do these live social media outputs for the world. I'm excited to discuss the topics that you have in store, and just excited about getting people to know who we are, what we are, and why we are. So thank you for having me and moving forward to do God's will.
Oh, yes. No, always. God's always in the middle of everything that we do. So for those of you that don't know, and this is why we're doing this program, is to just give you a better insight of who's behind Real Talk, why we're doing Real Talk, and why Sheree started it, and then why I myself decided to team up with Sheree and bring this program here to the El Paso community. So I met Sheree during a time when I had gotten out of the blind school out there in Austin, Texas, Chris Cole School for the Blind. And I came back inspired and ready to give back. Long story short, I had an ex-cellmate whom we had a very vibrant past. We were in prison together. And I ended up reaching out to him because I knew that he was working with Sheree in Real Talk, and I wanted to go give a speech. And that's how I met Sheree. I called her and asked her if I can go speak out there. And the rest is history. Through a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of following behind Sheree's hard work and sacrifice, and her opening the door for someone like myself to be able to do this, someone with 5 felonies, someone that's disabled. And I just had the heart, and I wanted to jump in and help Sheree make her dream bigger, because I believe when I started this, a lot of people asked me, Sheree, why don't you start your own program in El Paso? And I said, that's awesome. And from everything that I learned from wanting to start Real Talk, I know that I can do that easily. I said, but that defeats the purpose of Real Talk's mission, that I believe is really the thing behind it, is unity and being together, right? And togetherness, whether it's family, whether it's friends or good support, then your dream, your ambitions, your goals can be achieved. They can be bigger. So when you share your dream, your vision of Real Talk to me, I said, man, I would love to add more to that dream and kind of steal a little bit of yours so that I can hop on it, right? And help you make it bigger so that your vision can come to life, and I can be a small part of that in helping the community. So that's why we brought Real Talk to El Paso. And the conversation today is going to be the sacrifices and what it takes to start a 501c3 like Real Talk, dealing with volunteers, dealing with people that have felonies, might have troubled past, might have anger problems, underlying problems. But, we're willing to step up and deal with I don't want to say those people, but with that kind of a person that's out in this society, right? Someone that needs a chance. So, Sheree, what have been some of your struggles with starting Real Talk? And for those that don't know, Sheree's an ex federal probation officer, and I'm an ex felon, ex criminal. So, Sheree, what's been your struggles with starting Real Talk and an organization like this?
Well, coming from the law enforcement background, I had no idea about the nonprofit sector. Ideally, what I wanted to do was start the Real Talk program in the District of Nevada's Federal Probation Office. Due to red tape and all the other things that go along with the federal government and the agency that I was working with here, I'm retired now since 2014 of April. Um, it didn't work out that way, and thankfully, it did not. Because as I retired now, looking back, if I would have started the program and had the federal government under that umbrella with Real Talk, I would not still be running the program because it would be theirs. But everything happens for a reason. So, I had no idea about the nonprofit sector. So, in doing so, finding out that I could not embrace it with the federal government and the federal probation department, I went out on my own, got incorporated, and basically shut the doors behind me as far as the federal probation was concerned, and just went flying off. Just like I just jumped off a cliff and had just some wings, which were God's wings, to just make me float to a
Yeah.
to a safe landing. And so I went in this head first. I didn't sink or swim. It was just God told me I needed to do this. My passion has always been with the youth. I started as a juvenile parole officer. And the only reason I left from the juvenile system, because honestly, I was sick and tired of the parents and no accountability. And so I figured what more to do? Go to the adults and work with the adults. And there's no difference. The only difference is that the adults have a lot more gray hair and the parents are just a lot older. So it's still the same thing. There's still less accountability with some of the adults, parents that I used to work with, but I'm grateful that I did move up to the adult system, because had I not, I wouldn't have as many people that I work with today, ex-felons, that have actually just been able to change lives from this spectrum of the nonprofit that I have, and enable themselves to get on a new platform. So it's been a real struggle as far as learning the ins and outs of the actual nonprofit sector. I'm still learning as we speak.
Right. No, as am I, right? It's something that it's really hard. And, I go to a lot of these meetings and I speak to people that are in business, and, they always want to talk to me about business and how's your business doing. And, unfortunately, and maybe that's a huge fault of mine. I don't
Mhm.
know, but I don't see it as a business.
Right.
And it's, it's hard to stay business minded when you're wanting to
Sure.
do something from the heart, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's really tough. Sheree, you mentioned your the members that you have and your team. I want to dive into that just a little bit, because I know that a lot of your members, Gordon, Desiree, Raymond, Tasha, they're all out there in Vegas. They're all out there doing big things for themselves, writing books,
Yes.
having their shows going on. Desiree's a motivational speaker. Shout out to Desiree King. If you guys don't know who she is, check her out on Facebook. Great motivational speaker, a woman of God. And Gordon's doing the show. Ray's doing the chauffeur thing. You know, how has Real Talk really helped these people? We talk about success stories, and people always want to hear about the kids, right?
Sure.
And we forget that just because youth impact program is in our name doesn't mean we're not affecting the community in the whole and these adults and members that are part of Real Talk. So how has it
Sure.
been for you to see these people that have started with you grow in their entrepreneurship spirit and the things that they're doing outside of Real Talk?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, let me just back up to where you stated about a business. If you're passionate and you have the heart and the passion to do God's will, or the will of God, it's not work to me. It's strictly for the love of what I'm doing, and I too have to focus. I'm running a business first, and sometimes even with my speakers meetings, I have to remind them that this is a business, and at the same time, I'm reminding myself. So, in order to build a business, you have to have a strong foundation. And without a
Yes.
strong foundation, you're just destined to just fall apart, collapse, and all you're going to be left with is crumbles. So
Yes.
in order for me to build that strong foundation, I had to seek out what I call the elitists, if you will, of the criminal background.
Right.
And I look at it like this: the criminals that we have in our society, they're not dumb. Okay, you guys are very intelligent people. You just made stupid choices.
Yes.
A lot of people make stupid choices. They just are not arrested for it, or they haven't got caught. So, with that being said, we have just a tremendous amount of people in custody who are brilliant, people out of custody who are brilliant, with the now and F on their forehead, their back, their chest, whatever you want to call it. They have that felon status. But at the same time, they already understand that they're looked at a little different when they come out of the system.
Yes.
That's just how it is. Some people say no, they're not. Well, they're lying. They are, and they will continue to be, as long as we have the rules in place for felons. Those stigmas are going to be attached to them. Now, with my program, I call my meetings, every single meeting every month, change one meeting. It's not just for the kids to be changed one kid at a time. It's for the volunteers that come to the program. It's for my
Yes.
guests that come to the program. It's for my volunteer speakers who speak to the children to be changed as well. And what I've done is to create a platform for your ex-felons to be seen in a different light. Because generally the ex-felons in the courtrooms are looking up to the judge.
Yes.
Now they're on the same platform where they can see eye to eye with these judges, because they have now transitioned to a different lifestyle. I'm a big firm believer that, the criminal mind never stops thinking, never stops. It just lays dormant. So when you have somebody that comes out and has a horrible past, stealing, drugs, whatever, you name it, and you give them a platform or something that gives them hope, that encourages them, that inspires them, that you see the true light in their eyes, and this is what they really, really want to do to give back to the community, something clicks, something changes. Now, that doesn't mean that they never forget where they've come from. That doesn't mean that they would never go back to their lifestyles. I pray that they don't. But at the same time, we do have recidivists. Okay,
Yes.
whether it's in the society, whether it's in my program. But I have to admit, my recidivism rate for all of the people that I've interviewed over the last 7 years I've had this program, going on 7 years this next month, I've interviewed over 60 to 70 ex-felons to join my program, and I have about 15 strong members. Now, the 60 to 70 that I interviewed doesn't mean they came in and got arrested. It just means that the time wasn't good for them. It just
Right.
wasn't a good fit at that time. But the ones that have stayed stable with me, some I've had for 5 years, some I've had for 6 years. The ones that have stayed stable with me throughout that duration, I've only had 2 to 3 arrests, and one was vindicated. So to say that this is not being effective is a lie.
Right.
To say that this is not changing the behaviors of the people who speak for me is a lie. To say that it is not effective is another lie. So
Yeah.
we have to make sure that as a society, statistics have proven people who come out of prison, if you don't have a support system, you are doomed for failure.
Yes.
You have to have some type of support system, whether it's a home, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's a car, or whether it's you have a job lined up. Those things are very important when people come out of the system. We have got to work harder with our reentry programs, because if we don't, we're just continuously, and it's not solely society's fault, because let's face it, ex-felons and inmates, they choose to do certain things. They choose
Yes.
to make those mistakes. So I'm not going to put all the pressure on the society to make change wholeheartedly. But I need for people to understand, it's like anything else in life. If I'm on a diet and I want to lose 100 pounds, I have to have a support system. I
Yes.
can't have people bringing me donuts every day and expect me to continue to push back from the table.
Right.
We have to support each other. And this is what I'm trying to do for these young ladies and these young men, is to give them support, give them a new platform, and allow them to be able to speak to judges one-on-one, as they have with our guest speakers who come in. We bring people from all over the state to speak to our kids as closing speakers. And some of them have been judges, and it allotted our ex-felons to be hand in hand with those judges to speak to them about what they're doing positive now.
Yes. No, that's awesome. I see one of your guys also works with the prisoners. What's that program in Vegas for the prisoners?
Hope for Prisoners.
Hope for Prisoners. I
Yes.
see one of your members was involved with that as well, right?
Yes, there's been a couple that have actually come through the program that have partaken in that program.
That's awesome. So right now you were talking about the recidivism rate
Hmm.
and the statistics, and today is a very special day for me. It's May 5th, and today marks the 10th year of me being released and being out.
Congratulations.
Yes, and for those that don't know, making it out of the system, as everyone calls it, right? Um, it's not an easy thing to do. And I was on parole and federal probation, and to get off parole and federal probation, it wasn't the easiest thing in my life, and I wasn't fully 100% during my probation. But by the grace of God, I made it, and I was able to get away from that, and I'm thankful to be here today. A Real Talk has really, for those that say it doesn't work, like I'm a walking statistic that, ever since I've been involved with this vision of yours and helping bring it to El Paso and being a part of this, it's changed my life. It's changed the life of my family, my relationship with my son, relationship with my wife, relationship with my friends and family. And I'm just thankful that, like you said, you built something for people like myself to feel like we're part of society and giving back and feel equal, right? Because
Hmm.
as strong as I am, and as much self-esteem as I have, you still feel beneath people because
Yep.
they do look at you differently. And
Very
this really has given me more empowerment
hmm.
to speak out and say, I am a felon. So what? I'm
Sure.
doing right. I'm doing right, and my actions will always speak louder than my words. And all I can do is keep trying for this program. So, Sheree, before this whole COVID-19 thing and
Hmm.
locking down, I see a lot of posts. People support local business, and I'm a strong believer in that. Since before this, we never eat at Applebee's, any place like that. I support local. And as a local 501c3, it's been hard for us to keep the doors open. Just because we don't have a building doesn't mean we don't pay insurance. Doesn't
Right.
mean that I'm not paying phone bills. We have to pay to have our website open. And
Hmm.
we're not asking people for money right now. But before the COVID, how was it for Real Talk? What did you have lined up? How was the donations part of being a 501c3 going?
Well, the struggle is real all the time for the last 7 years. That's real talk. As I stated earlier, the nonprofit sector, it's a never-ending learning experience for me, and I'm really fortunate to have a great board to bounce things off of and have them understand my passion and get behind it and the vision that I have. So we constantly continue to seek fundings. We had a little golf fundraiser earlier in the year. We plan on having another one again at Summerlin Golf Course TPC in February of next year. So by the grace of God, money just falls in our laps at times and needed. We still have rent to pay as well. We still have insurance.
Yeah,
And for most people, you need to understand as well. It's when you're dealing with ex-felons and you're dealing with the population of juveniles or young adults or young or youth rather, your insurance goes to the extreme, the highest as it can be as far as policy.
yeah,
Because you are dealing with ex-felons. So when people don't understand that, we have an expense to pay. So we have to pay monthly dues, just or monthly fees, just like everyone else. So we get funded by people who hear about us, see us on Facebook. We've yet to be funded by a grant. I would love to have more funding for grants so I can hire people. I tell people all the time, this organization has been operating for three people with three people for the last 7 years. Three people, yes, and that is me, myself, and I. Okay, real talk. But by the grace of God, I've been able to sustain the program with the funds, dropping in when needed, good with a good board in hand, and put some things together as far as policy. So when we do continue to go nationwide, We have things in order so people can replicate what we're doing. My mission is to continue to make this a national program and get people like Julian, yourself, Julian, to open doors for other kids in the communities across the nation, open doors for other felons in the communities across the nation, and open doors for other families across the nation. Because, people like yourself, you are capable of running an organization, regardless of this type of organization, regardless of your background. And who better to do that than somebody who's actually been there and done that, with the understanding of all the different laws within your state that you'd have to adhere to. So I think it's moving in the right direction. We still obviously are plugging away with what we have, little by little, but in due time it'll come forward. I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're on the same boat right now with trying to stay alive, keeping our name out there, and keeping us relevant, and making sure that we're still at least doing our work and what we promise the community we do, which is try to change one person at least, and that's what we're continuing to do with our talks. I know you guys have stepped it up with Gordon doing these same kind of interviews. They have
Yes.
one tomorrow as well,
Yes.
same time here on Real Talk Nevada. And Sheree, during the now that during the COVID, like I said, we've done a lot of changes. But what are we to expect from Real Talk Nevada once we're back and
Sure.
running and fully operation?
Well, there's a lot of things that I would love to see happen. But before I get to that, let me just interject something very quickly. For all of the people who are ex-felons out there, who think that POs are horrible people and they always, want to take jabs at you or send you back to prison, listen. Some of that is factual with some people who actually are just in the wrong career field. Okay, but please, I'm not one of those people, and there are thousands, if not millions, of other POs that feel the same way. We're here to help. We're here to
Yeah.
help. We're here to help change your life and give you the tools to make you a better person, to bring you out of the dark and bring you to the light, to show that you are of God, and then you can make a change. So if you are out there, we are always in need of new speakers in our program who are willing to give back to their community and understand that we are here to help. And please,
Yes.
last, before I get to that question, Jill, and please listen, you guys, don't treat your POs horrible. Okay. Now, those of you who are out there who know you're screwing up, take accountability. Do what you got to
Yes.
do. It's like you're on the streets. Deal with it. You did something you shouldn't have done. Handle your business. Take care of it. Be accountable. But then also take heed to those POs who are really trying to help you and put you on a different path to make you change your ways and assist you with being that light, that beacon of hope for someone else. So,
Yes.
so that's what I really want to stress to all the people who've been in and out of the system. Stay encouraged, okay, and make amends for what you've done. The last thing to address you, Julian, I have a lot of bigger visions for this program. I would love to see my leadership program created. I would love to see more speakers come out. I would love to have a third portion of my program evolve with just speaking to the kids a little bit, as far as a more quaint environment. Because right now we have about 80 kids a month. There's so many other avenues I want to get to, but I am really focusing right now on continuously developing my leadership program and being able to tap into the schools a little more so they can start basically requiring the kids to come to our program. Because nationwide, not just locally here, but nationwide, we have a truancy issue within our schools. And
Yes.
so the thing is, people have to understand, if you don't know, that's the pipeline to the system.
Yes.
Foster care, aging out, and truancy is the pipeline to our system. And what we need to focus on right now, yes, everybody's up in an uproar with this pandemic, and it's horrible that we're going through this. But listen, let's not forget about the kids. Okay, the kids are seeing all of this on the news. They're hearing the baffling back and forth with kids who are in the pro, who or the politicians arguing back and forth. This one's talking negative about this, these parties. The kids are listening to this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's up to us to explain to our kids. Yes, I want to help the adults, but I really created this program to get to the bottom of our issues and work my way to the top. Because half the time in our society, we always deal with the issue and not the problem. You have to
Yes.
treat the problem and not just the issue. And if we continue just dealing with the issue, we're putting band-aids on this. And we have to make sure that our kids understand that they mean something. This is a time where you are now spending a lot of time at home with your child. And so here's the best time to get involved with your child, because I do not want to see more and more of our kids going through the system and ending up being our speakers in our program. Although we
Yeah.
know where there's law, they're going to be broken. But let's take
Yes.
another step and address our kids.
So Sheree, we're about to cut off, but I know that you wanted to interject your book. Can you tell us
Yes,
about the book, where they can go get it, and what you're doing with the proceeds of that book?
absolutely. So I wrote this book. You know, people have been telling me to write a book for the last 5, 10 years, and always said, "Who has time to write a book?" The book was created about a year and a half ago, and honestly, God just told me to write it. And 100% of these proceeds, the first year of publication, goes directly to my program here for the Kids Activity Fund. We fund kids activities, okay, up to $150 a month, providing they have a 2.0 in passing grades and they remain in compliance, and they give us a nice, genuine thank you letter. We actually support their activity, whatever it is. So 100% of the proceeds go to the kids' activity funds. I'm not a marketer. I don't preach. I try not to push money so much because I know people sway away from that. But here's the thing: this money's not going to me. So far, we've raised about $600. I would love to see more than that by the end of this year to get to these kids. We have given away over $102,000 and counting to kids' activities since the program started, or since we actually
Nice.
were funded. $102,000, and over 150 kids have been serviced with activities that they can choose.
That's awesome, Sheree. I hope we get there one day. We've had a slow start. This was our first year and coronavirus happened, but we're not giving up. We're moving forward. We obviously
Yes,
are catching people's attention. I've been asked to be on a committee. I can't do the official announcement, but for the schools, um,
absolutely.
for curriculum for education on reaching troubled kids. So, I'm very excited to be a part of that. Once I get to announce it and put it on Real Talk's resume of what we've been able to achieve out here in this community.
Great.
For anyone that's listening, if you're a person that's been incarcerated, whether it's a misdemeanor or felony, and you want to come speak to these kids, you want to speak live to these kids, you want to be involved in something positive, please reach out to us. Visit us at realtalkep.org if you're in the Las Vegas area. Visit them at realtalkyip.org. That's realtalkyip.org if you're in the Vegas area. That way you guys can be a part of this great program. Sheree, I have been talking to someone in Kansas City, Missouri. I haven't been wanting to share that with you, but I'll go ahead and share that with you now. It's an ex friend of mine that was in the dope game with me a long time ago, turned minister, and he's been watching these talks and he's interested. So I'm going to be
Awesome.
talking to him, and once we get to that stage, and we'll get you on the phone and do the introductions. Now,
That'd be great.
before we leave, I always leave you guys with a story. And
Oh,
today,
Julian, I forgot. The book can be purchased on
oh,
Amazon.com.
yes, I'm sorry, you guys. Visit Amazon.com, type in
And
Sheree D. Cornell.
yep, and Julian made the book, El Paso, Texas. Julian made our book. He's in there. So
Nice.
El Paso, Texas is in there with Julian's picture in there. So please
Yeah,
continue to support us.
you guys, please, thank you for your support. So the story tonight is a story of I felt a lot of shame in this story, and it's a story of when I got moved from Leavenworth, Kansas, and I got brought back to El Paso on a plane by the federal by Con Air, and they were going to do added charges down here. So I get off the plane, and I'm always black box when you're a confirmed gang member. You travel black box, means your hands are like that, and you're hunched over, and your chains are to your wrist, and then to your waist, and then to your ankles, and you're. So I get off and I can't really see, and I get off the stairs, and when I look up, it's a friend of mine that I played Little League Baseball with for the Logan Hawks, and it was very embarrassing, very humbling experience to a slap in the face to say, look, me and this guy started in the same neighborhood, same school, same path, same friends. How did he end up there and me end up here, right? And then once I get to the jail, then they put me in solitary because I'm a confirmed gang member, and supposedly dangerous inmate. And there's another friend of mine from high school, and she walked by, and she's a captain. No, he was a captain of the, and she was a lieutenant. And she walked by and did a double take, and there I was in a cell in solitary, talking to a friend from middle school and high school, feeling embarrassed, feeling ashamed. So that was one of my most embarrassing and humbling experiences, was going to the jail and seeing friends of mine, and having them see me that way. You know, when you see other people in there and they get caught up and, oh, what's up, homie? Oh, what's up? And when I saw them, I was more like trying to hide my face and not even have them see me. But if you guys are watching, both of you guys are my friend on Facebook. I just want to tell you guys thank you for treating me fair when I was in there, and not embarrassing me and making me feel any other way except the way that I was making myself feel. Also, I just wanted to share another story on how small the world is and how God always seems to bring things full circle and together. And I believe everyone's connected in some way, shape, or form, right? So our connection, Sheree's and I's connection, isn't only through Bruce, who was a member of Sheree's Real Talk, and my ex Sally, right? But the other day she got a message from a woman saying, "Oh, you know Julian Morales from El Paso," and Sheree's like, "Yeah, how do you know?" And turns out I worked with her husband here in Chaparral, New Mexico, when we built the solar plant. A very good friend of mine. I hadn't gotten in touch with him in a long time, so it's no coincidence. I know we're doing the right thing, Sheree, and that we're headed down the right path. And thanks for coming on tonight.
Absolutely.
Once again, you guys go to Amazon, check out Sheree's book. Proceeds go to Real Talk. And if you guys, I know you guys are doing a lot of shopping right now from home. It costs you nothing except an extra 2 or 3 seconds. Go through Amazon Smiles, look up Real Talk Youth Impact Program El Paso or Nevada. Part of your purchase from Amazon writes us a check at the end of the year. It costs you nothing but an extra few clicks and a little bit of a couple extra seconds of your time for you to help the kids of Nevada and here in El Paso. Sheree, anything, any final words for everybody?
Yeah, yes. One thing is, number one is the book is a partial autobiography. You'll see more about why I'm really truly involved in this program or created this program. It goes in depth of how I grew up in Los Angeles, California, a family of 12, and that's all I'll tell you. So it's deep. That's why it's called Real Talk, Real Stories, Real Change. And I do also include, because I believe they're part and the reason why this program is still evolving, I include all of the speakers that I've had for the past couple of years in my book. So their stories, their testimonies are in here. So just pick it up. It shares the testimonials about the kids, the parents, and everything else, that why we're doing what we're doing. So
yes. Yes. Go ahead, Sheree. Sorry.
The final thing is this. I like to leave just a special positive mark whenever I speak to people, but mine is this: make your mark in this world and change one.
Yes.
Just make a mark in this world and change one. Leave some type of legacy, whether it's short or long. Give something positive back.
Amen. All right, Sheree, thank you for being on tonight. And as always, you guys, thank you for watching Real Talk, Real Topics. And don't forget, love your neighbor. Love yourself. And always love your kids. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Take care. God bless you guys.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Talk coming to you.